Okay, all you fellow YouTubers and my friends and subscribers, and for all those people that are sick of being lied to, what you're going to see is the following coordinates. So pause the video right now, run out and get a pen. So pause the video, go and get a pen, and write these coordinates down. So when you go into Google Sky, just type those coordinates into Google Sky. It'll take you directly to this next image. This next image is what NASA said that cannot be done, that we cannot find planets without radio telescopes, and we look for a wobble. Well, lo and behold, people, I found one in Google Sky, which are NASA images. There it is there, folks, a planet. That little dot around a star is a planet in orbit of the star. Look at the corona of the sun. You can see the wobble of the sun, so they're right about the wobble, but they're wrong about seeing them with the naked eye in photographs. Now, this photograph here too, this is just jumping back to the moving suns and everything. I've noticed that the suns, when they move, they drop these coronas, and yeah, as if they're nothing, and something else comes along and eats them all up and chomps them up. I don't know what they do with them and why they do it, but as you can see, there's two coronas, one in the corner, one at the side, being chomped up there by other craft, other creatures. There's another corona being dumped by a sun, and yeah, this happens quite regularly in space. There's plenty, you can see them for yourself in Google Sky, folks. All you have to do is go in there and search. Spin the thing and just let it just go slowly. You might have to let it spin for an hour before you load up your buffer and get finer resolution. That's what I do. But then you start seeing all these lovely images within Google Sky. This is how I found the deep space UFO the same way. Now, as you can see, that sun has dumped its corona. The so-called spires of the stars that we get told are just optical illusions caused by cameras and things like that, well, they're actually real, folks, and the proof is that there. See the spikes? The spikes have actually dug through the corona and left a physical evidence mark stating that those bars that we see coming off our sun are actually real objects. They're solid objects. Here's a sun that has just dumped its corona, hasn't dumped a big one. I'd say this happens when they actually move, but it just basically happens. And the proof of the pudding is the spires on the sun, which you'll see in this next image of the planet and everything like that with the star. You can't see the actual planet, but see those spires on the star. They're solid objects. They are not an optical illusion like you were told. There they are there. Those spires are solid. There's a little planet that everybody can see. I spotted it with my naked eye in a photograph, a NASA image. Now, and that star, I don't know whether that's the star that dropped those particular ones. I think it may have dropped one of them. The star itself is a partial image, but those spires are solid. You can see in that image how they're actually cutting through the corona and affecting that corona. As you can see there, that corona has had damage caused to it. I'd say when the star spins around and changes direction, but those things are dead set real. There is the physical evidence that the spires, the four spires on a sun, are solid. Well, there's actually, hang on, 4, 6. There's 6, I think. Yeah, I think it works out 6 mathematically. Yeah, it works out 6. So there's the one coming off in the opposite forward, backward direction. But they are solid objects, folks. And there is your physical evidence. You can see that within the coronas, because that spire has affected those coronas as it has left them behind. Now, if they were an optical illusion, why are they leaving these particular solid mass cuts through the dumped hydrogen corona? Now, that's hydrogen gas, folks. It would have to be hydrogen gas or an off-throw of it that has been left behind by the sun, still being illuminated by the sun because the sun is close enough to it to illuminate it. And yeah, so basically, we're being lied to. All the stuff they tell us is a lie. Don't listen to them, folks. Look for yourself. Here's another star. I'd sepia this one accidentally, so sorry about that, folks. But I thought it looked cool, so I left it. But as you can see, those coronas have been cut by the spires of the star. Our star has spires. We can't see them because our star is too bright. And as you can see there, that has been cut by the star itself. So yeah, this is supposed to be just about the planet, but I did want to include some of this stuff in regard to it because I thought this was a pretty important factor that everybody tells me that these spires are an optical illusion that we see and everything, but it's not. This is the physical evidence that proves that these spires that come off our stars are dead set real objects. They have to be. If to cause a cut through a gas mass like that, they are quite solid objects. They're not thin, they're not an optical illusion, because an optical illusion would not cause a cutting mass through the coronosphere of the star. Now the stars, when they move, I'd say that's when they actually cut, and you can see through this chronosphere here when there's a little planet again. I mentioned that little planet. Hey NASA, I found this planet without all the fancy equipment that you guys use. I just looked at one of your images and I was just going through for another moving star video and I found this little planet. So you're bullshitting us, NASA. Wake up to yourselves. Tell people the truth that yes, there's planets that orbit other stars. Here is the proof. And as they said, it does pull. The coronal mass of the sun does get pulled. That they weren't lying about, but there's the star evidence. But those spires that they tell us are optical illusions. That's bullshit. Okay? And there's no other word, folks, and I'm sorry I've got little kids. They've lied to you, okay? The truth is, those spires that come off stars are actually real objects. And as you can see here, you can see a fairly large chronosphere with the planet that NASA says we can't see with our naked eye. But you can see the chronosphere has been cut by those spires coming out of the star. And yes, it does pull like the field of the sun. But there's the physical evidence that proves those spires are real. It has, as it's dumped the coronosphere when it's moved, right, it has cut through. Those spires have cut through the coronosphere. So that means they are solid mass. So hence, the pictures of the stars that we're seeing, they're filtering out the vital parts, but there's the physical evidence of stars that are further away, or these aren't stars at all, these are craft. So they're lying about something. So, but the thing is, you can see planets around stars, stars do move, the spires on the stars are real, they are not optical illusions. When you look at the star and you see the four little things coming off it, glistening and everything, they are real. It's not the atmosphere causing it. It's because these things have mass. These things move. These things dump coronas. The spires on the corona cut the physical mass. And if you look at the internal section of that star, our stars aren't round. There's something else to this, because that section in the centre isn't round, so something else is going on here. I'm still trying to work that part out. But I can tell you now, I can present the evidence, the physical NASA evidence, by the way, folks, because every single image in Google Sky comes from Hubble and all the space telescopes that NASA have. JPL and all the other telescopes are NASA images, genuine NASA images. If you want to physically go out and put these into a film that you're selling and stuff like that, you've got to go out and buy these images and all this crap. But this is under the Fair Use Act of Yahoo and the world, that these images need to be seen, and that's why I'm using them. I've left their trademarks on them. But there's the little planet, folks, spotted, and you can see the only thing they did tell you, that it does affect the sun in a way. It pulls the mass of the corona. doesn't move the star. It pulls the mass of the corona to the side. So that mass of the corona is going to the side. They are lying to everybody when they talk about the sun. They are lying about everything they state about space. They have not told one little proof, except for the fact that it does pull the thing. But they're just normal astronomers looking for the stuff that has said, oh yeah, that pulls it across. But NASA's lying to us because NASA said we can't see those planets. But we can. NASA said that those spires coming off the sun aren't real. They said they're an optical illusion. There's the proof. They're not an optical illusion. For God's sake, there's the physical evidence. I only put out there physical evidence. Anybody that knows my channel knows that I won't put something up and I won't talk about it if I don't have the physical evidence in that video. And the only thing I talk about is what is in that video and the physical evidence that I have within that video. And if anybody knows in a courtroom, physical evidence is everything. Here is the physical evidence. You can see the splice marks from the four sides of that corona, and something else has been coming through and splicing that up, or whether that was the star when it moved before it shot off. Something else has scooped off half of it. I've looked. I thought that was at first. I thought that was NASA images overlaying an image on the top. It's actually not, because there's no other overlay images. And I've checked along all the stars along those paths to see with that star. Yes, it is. Now this one again, that's a sepia image that I just sepia just for a look. But you can see the spire cuts of the star within that coronal mass dump. Again, you can see the spire mass cuts through the coronal mass dump. So that means the spires on those stars are physically real. They are not something that you just see. They are physical, solid mass. Only a solid mass could cause those marks through the dump when they dump those coronas. That means that as they dump those coronas, those spires are cutting the gas of the dump that's left behind when that star moves. This is also physical evidence of moving stars. But the best thing is, it's also physical evidence that there's planets out there that can be seen. All you've got to do is look at the stars, and occasionally you'll find one. It's not the first time I found one, but this is the biggest one I found. Okay? But these spires, I was out there looking at all these spires and doing this physical evidence for the dumping of the coronal masses when I found this planet. It does have the physical wobble that our normal astronomers say that's what they're looking for, because they worked that out from our own sun. But here is a physical picture that NASA said we couldn't use. So someone is lying to us. So there are astronomers out there that basically most probably have been lied to. So look, folks, take it for what you see. Physical evidence or the bullshit lies that NASA goes out and tells everybody. There's a planet. I spotted it with my own eye. You're now looking at it with your own eyes. And planets dump things, and those spires on the planet are real. This is Anthony Avery signing off again with the truth.